රිවයින් කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා මුකුත් මගේ වෙන්නේ.
BOTV ටීවී බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Good evening tonight. What goes up must come down. Fuel prices increased last night, reduced by this afternoon. However, Lanka IOC sells at the increased price.
These frequent price hikes are really bad.
The words she spoke. Colombo Magistrates Court ordered television stations to hand over unedited footage of former Minister Vijayakala's statement. United National Party meanwhile initiated disciplinary inquiry. Recovering the loss. Central Bank governor says that they are to file a civil case to recover the loss from the bond scam.
We have taken action. We have done a loss calculation, and on the basis of that, there is a court case.
Will baby Trump fly in the skies of London next week? I'll have a full report later on in the bulletin from London. Stay tuned.
And in sports, FIFA 2018, Group 8 matches of the Football World Cup gets underway. Uruguay clashes with France in the first match. It is 9 o'clock on the dot. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7, Sri Lanka's news channel. Hello everyone, I'm Mahesh Johnny. A former Thai Navy diver has died while taking part in efforts to rescue 12 boys trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand. We'll have that report on our international segment coming up. But first, we begin here at home and, well, with some confusing news about the increase of fuel prices. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has issued a circular informing its regional officers to leave fuel prices unchanged and sell fuel at prices which existed prior to last midnight. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance and Mass Media issued a communique stating that a decision regarding the fuel prices of the CPC would be taken at the next cabinet meeting.
Fuel prices were last revised by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and Lanka Indian Oil Company on the 10th of May this year. However, 2 months after the last price revision, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and Lanka IOC increased prices of fuel once more upon a notice issued by the Ministry of Finance. Accordingly, fuel prices were hiked with effect from last midnight. Following the move, price of a litre of 92 octane was increased to 145 rupees, a hike of 8 rupees from the previous price of 137 rupees. Price of a litre of octane 95 was increased by 7 rupees to 155 rupees. The price of a litre of diesel was increased by 9 rupees to 118 rupees, while the price of a litre of super diesel was increased by 10 rupees to 129 rupees. Lanka Indian Oil Company also upped their prices of fuel. LIOC hiked the price of 92 octane by 9 rupees up to 146 rupees and 95 octane was hiked to 158 rupees. Euro 3 was increased up to 149 rupees with a litre of auto diesel being sold at 118 rupees. The price of a litre of super diesel meanwhile was hiked to 129 rupees with a litre of extra mile super diesel sold at 122 rupees. Long queues were seen at refuelling stations with people attempting to fill their tanks at old rates.
මේ වෙනසට අපි ගරු කරන්න ඕනේ ඇත්තටම. සැප තමයි ඉතින් යාපාලනේ.
වැඩක් නෑ මල්ලි කතා කරලා. ඇත්තම කතන්දරේ මුන් ඔක්කොම එලවන්න ඕන. හැමමානෙම සංශෝධනය කරන්න උන්ගේ ඔළුව.
Long queues were seen today as well with public expressing their displeasure over the revised fuel prices.
I know the rupee has fluctuated, but these frequent price hikes are really bad. And initially, as soon as this government came into power, they reduced the price of fuel. But the moment they increase, that has an effect on all the others. So all the prices will go up. So this has a total impact on the economy, especially the poor people suffer a lot. They must make decisions and then carry on with it.
The topic of the fuel price hike was also taken up in Parliament with leader of the Janatha Vimukti Peramuna Anura Kumar Disanayaka expressing his views today.
ඊයේ රාත්‍රියේ ඉන්ධන මිල වැඩිවීමක් ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කරා. හැබැයි දැන් ජනාධිපතිවරයා විසින් තෙල් සංස්ථාවට නියෝගයක් ලබා දී තිබෙනවා පරණ මිලටම තෙල් ලබා දෙන්න කියලා. ඒක මම දන්නේ. එකක් තමයි ගත්තු අයට ආපහු දෙනවද?
මම ඒක මට කියන්න අමාරුයි.
ඒ කරුකතන ප්‍රශ්නෙත් තියෙනවනේ.
මේකම මගේ ඇඟට දාන්න එපා.
වැඩි මිලට ගහපු අයට ආපහු දෙනවද තෙල්? ඒක මොකක්ද ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගන්න තීරණේ? සහ මේක කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයෙන් අනුමැතියක් ගත්තද? ඒක දෙවෙනි එක.
හොඳයි.
තුන්වෙනි එක තෙල් සංස්ථාවෙන් වැඩි කරලා තිබෙදී ජනාධිපතිවරයා නැවත අඩු කිරීම සඳහා ගනු ලබන ක්‍රියාමාර්ග කවරේද?
In the meantime, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has issued a circular informing its regional officers to leave the fuel prices unchanged and sell fuel at the prices which existed before last midnight. Refueling stations of Lanka IOC, however, were seen pumping fuel in line with the price revision at hiked rates. When inquired from the managing director of the LIOC, Shyam Bora, he said that the revised prices will not be changed. With the fuel price hike catching people unawares, opinions on the move was rife.
The Treasury has decided to increase fuel prices. The CPC says that the prices will remain unchanged. In other instances, the CPC also has a say when changing prices, but not this time as the ministry alone has decided to increase prices.
There is no sudden increase. It is a decision made by the Cabinet of Ministers some time back. In fact, this was discussed for more than 10-15 years, that it is absolutely necessary to have a price formula. This was a scheduled revision. Originally supposed to be once in 2 months, but the Minister of Finance had now said that he will revise it once a week. Fundamentals of economic management is to ensure that the prices reflect the cost and if necessary subsidies be provided. Prices will go up, prices will come down depending on market conditions. In India, the revisions are done every day. We are a sophisticated nation. There is no reason why we can't adjust the prices of fuel on a weekly basis. If India can do it on a daily basis, why is it not possible for us to do it on a weekly basis? By artificially holding prices, you're fooling yourself, you're fooling the nation.
To expect when the world oil prices go up in Sri Lanka, fuel prices will continue to go up, particularly because the government is now taken that as a policy. When the previous government had to keep the oil prices high, it was projected as something the previous government was doing wrong. Now with what is happening today, it is very clear this has nothing to do with the government. It is the world price fluctuation that is reflected here in the oil prices. However, the current fuel prices in Sri Lanka are far higher than what we saw under the previous government under comparative world oil prices. From 2014 up until now, the rupee has devalued by almost 22%. Sri Lankan customers have to now pay higher price for fuel because of this reason.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance and Mass Media issued a communique this evening stating that the prices of petrol and diesel were revised yesterday according to the powers vested in the committee appointed on the fuel pricing formula. The ministry further highlighted that a decision will be taken at the next cabinet meeting regarding the fuel prices of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation.
Well, the Colombo Chief Magistrate Ranga Dasanayake ordered 5 electronic media organizations, including TV Derana, to hand over the unedited footage of the statement of former Minister Vijayakala Maheshwaran to the Organised Crimes Prevention Division. The ruling was made following a request by the officials of the Organised Crimes Prevention Division. Meanwhile, the United National Party has appointed a 4-member committee to conduct a disciplinary inquiry into the former minister's statement.
Following her controversial statement on Monday in Jaffna supporting the revival of the LTTE, Vijayakala Maheshwaran resigned from her state ministerial position of Child Affairs due to immense pressure from both the government and the opposition. However, our reporters witnessed posters in several areas in Jaffna supporting the former minister, which bore a headline, "Politics without any profit." The poster, printed in Tamil, further said, quote, "In the past, it was Maheshwaran who brought peace for the Tamil community. Today, it is you who does it for us, Vijayakala. We are always with you," unquote. Meanwhile, a protest against former State Minister Vijayakala Maheshwaran was held at the Kasbeva Urban Council today. It was organised by the ruling party of the Kasbeva Urban Council. Meanwhile, Colombo Chief Magistrate Ranga Dasanayake ordered 5 electronic media organizations, including TV Derana, to hand over the unedited footage of the statement of former State Minister Vijayakala Maheshwaran to the Organised Crimes Prevention Division. A request had been made to the court by the Organised Crimes Prevention Division following a complaint filed by the Sihela Rave organisation. Member of the Sihela Rave, Venerable Magalakande Sudatatera, had filed the complaint alleging that former State Minister had violated the Article 157A of the 7th Constitution of the Constitution. Later on, Venerable Magalakande Sudatta was summoned by the Organised Crimes Prevention Division to make a statement regarding the complaint he filed. Meanwhile, the UNP today appointed a 4-member committee to conduct a disciplinary inquiry regarding former State Minister Vijayakala Maheswaran. Accordingly, General Secretary of the UNP, Minister Akila Viraj Karyavasam, Ministers Thalata Atukorala, Kabir Hashim and Ranjit Madhuma Bandara have been appointed as the committee members. The controversial issue continued to make waves during the session in the House today.
පසුගිය ජූලි 7 වෙනිදා උතුරේ බොහෝ ප්‍රදේශවල
Deceased LTTE suicide cadres was celebrated in a ceremony in Jaffna. The sovereignty of the law has been violated with this. Although leave for police officers in those areas are cancelled, they are struggling to contain the situation. Meanwhile, 25% of the army has been removed from those areas. 100 army camps are being removed island-wide. It is in this backdrop that Minister Vijayakala mentioned that the LTTE is needed in those areas. She herself accepted that her comments violated the Constitution, and you yourself also inquired from the Attorney General whether her comments violated the Constitution. Does she still have the right to hold a seat in Parliament? It is a grave offence to support terrorism. I can't work like a dictator regarding this matter, and that is why I have to resort to looking at legal aspects in the matter. Accordingly, the Attorney General has been informed and he is currently conducting an investigation into the issue. I can't say exactly when he will release the report, but once he does, we will take necessary legal action.
Meanwhile, several views were expressed regarding the latest developments.
We will have to take necessary action following the investigation regarding the statement.
කළුකොටි සංවිධානයත් ඔවුන් සැමරුවා. මොකද්ද රජය ගැන ක්‍රියාමාර්ගය?
ඒක තහනම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම එතනට ගිහිල්ලා
It's illegal, and if they used LTTE flags, those who are responsible must be arrested on the spot. Law and order can't be maintained in those areas if they can't do that.
බලධාරීන් මේවා නොදැක්කාසේ ඉන්නේ.
නොදැක්කාසේ ඉන්න බෑ. ඉතින් මේවා මධ්‍ය දකින්නවා නම් ජනතාව දකින්නවා නම්
If we act as though we don't notice these things, we might have to face the same dark experiences we faced in the past.
මුණ පාන්න සිද්ධ වුණා මිහිරි අත්දැකීම් වලට නැවත රට මුණ දෙන්න පටන් ගනීවි.
මේ රට නැවත ප්‍රභාකරන් නැගිටලා වෙලා හරි.
If Prabhakaran comes back from the dead and says, let's take arms and let's separate the country, the police and the army would not have to go there. The public themselves will beat them up.
President Maithripala Sirisena says he made an intervention with a commitment to provide solutions for the issues arising regarding the South Asian Institute of Technology and Medicine, and with the aim of not leaving room for any child of this country to be subjected to injustice when receiving education. The head of state made these remarks participating in a meeting with the students and parents of SITEM held at the Nelumpokuna Theatre this morning.
President Sirisena was expressing his views regarding the education process of the SITEM students who were enrolled to the Kotalawala Defence University Medical Faculty and said that necessary steps will be taken in the near future to uplift facilities of the KDU Medical Faculty. The President also spoke about his involvement in solving this matter.
The issue of SITEM that began elsewhere came into our hands in order for it to be solved. Despite the issues you're facing, it is I who faced bulk of the criticism in this country when trying to solve issues like this. I know how they used to blame us. But I can state that not a single leader in this country took the lead to solve an issue like this the way I did.
Also, President Maithripala Sirisena has appointed Udaya Seneviratne, the former secretary to the Ministry of Science and Technology, as his secretary after the resignation of Austin Fernando. According to a statement from the President's media unit, Udaya Seneviratne has 37 years of experience in the public service. In prior commitments, he has been the secretary to the Ministries of Sports, Highways, Investment Promotion, Mahavali and Environment. In other headline stories we have for you tonight, the Governor of Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, says that the Central Bank has done a loss calculation of the bond scam to the country's economy and have taken adequate steps to recover the loss. Addressing the media during a review meeting today, the Governor emphasized that the Attorney General's assistance has been sought by the Central Bank to file civil cases to recover the said loss.
The central bank governor was questioned by journalists today as to why the central bank was silent about the loss made to the country from the bond scam.
I wrote to the CID to undertake investigations. In addition to that, there is another, that is a criminal. In addition to that, there is a civil case to recover the losses of EPF, the losses of ETF, the losses of UGC, the losses of Insurance Corporation, the losses of NSB. I hope I've got all of them. So we have taken action. We have done a loss calculation, and on the basis of that, there is a court case that has been initiated. So we're not hiding anything. We have done some calculations. We have asked the Attorney General's Department to initiate a civil action to recover that money. As you know, about 11.7 billion is frozen in the account of perpetual treasuries.
The Youth Front of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna calls on the authorities to reveal those contacted by owners of Perpetual Treasuries Limited Arjun Aloysius from inside the prison. 3 mobile phones and 5 SIM cards were discovered yesterday from the prison ward, where Aloysius and CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Limited Kasun Palisena were held, with 1 mobile phone being found from under the mattress of Aloysius. Addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, UPFA parliamentarian Thenoko Vidanagamage insisted that those contacted by Aloysius from inside the prison be revealed.
Lawyers representing the Attorney General yesterday informed the Fort Magistrates Court that prison officials have found 3 mobile phones and 5 SIM cards in the prison ward, where PTL owner Arjun Aloysius and its CEO Kasun Palisena were held. The duo was also further remanded until the 19th of this month.
Prison officers informed court that 5 SIM cards and 3 mobile phones were found under the mattress of former chairman of Perpetual Treasuries Limited Arjun Aloysius, who was contacted by Aloysius using these mobile phones. How do you get pillows and mattresses when you're in prison? I was imprisoned on a move of political vengeance. We got neither mattresses nor pillows. The only thing we got were mats.
Let's take you to the Parliament now. Today, members of the House expressed various views regarding the upcoming Provincial Council election.
We all know that there is a problem of governing local authorities across the country. You know that the previous electoral system had a 70-30 ratio. It also allowed the winning party to have a bonus. This uncertainty would not be there if we still had the previous electoral system. The ratio changed for the new system to please those who are in the government. They removed the bonus, and that is why all these problems have arisen. The main problem here is that 50% of the members are not selected by direct public vote. I saw UNP's Deputy Minister Paranavithana saying we need to hold the election soon. So please hold the election soon, because it is difficult for this government to hold any election. You have given rise to a situation which makes it look as if the country doesn't have a government. There is no one to take any responsibility here, and then claim that electoral systems are the main reasons for this situation. It isn't ethical to implement a corrupt preferential voting system, saying the provincial council election is delayed.
Professor of California State University, Dr. Sarath Gunathilaka, had an in-depth discussion on the issue of glyphosate at Hyde Park on Ada Derana 24/7. Now, speaking to its host Indivri Amuwantha, Dr. Gunathilaka encouraged that glyphosate be phased out of the use and due guidelines for its usage be adhered to until the weedicide is completely out of use. He also called for continuous monitoring of consequences of glyphosate use to the human body and environmental systems during the phase-out period.
So the Roundup or the glyphosate herbicide is very different from pure glyphosate. When you spray glyphosate on a plant, it is not only that plant that is affected. It affects the soil, it affects the surrounding area, it affects the water supply.
How was the impact of glyphosate really found?
Glyphosate began to appear in human food. The biggest controversy we have in United States about the health effect of glyphosate is the issue of cancer. Now, in 2015, the cancer research arm of the World Health Organization declared glyphosate as a cancer-causing agent. They have now shown that it causes a multiplicity of diseases, not only including kidney disease, not only including some, they say that it makes particular contribution to diabetes, autism and dementia.
What does it really mean to Sri Lanka going forward, Professor? What options do we have? The ban is lifted and here we're talking about a risk to life. Going forward, what should policy direction be?
Use glyphosate according to the standards. But glyphosate has never been used according to the standards in this country, because I know, I have done the research, analyzed different samples of glyphosate that are being brought into this country, look at those additives, look at those adjuvants, look at the impurities in those adjuvants. They have shown that many brands of glyphosate contains impurities like arsenic and cadmium. We have to test our water supply and food supply to make sure that they don't contaminate our water supply. And it is especially important for the tea industry. The plants, the weeds are developing resistance to glyphosate. We have to measure that. We have to measure the amount of glyphosate that if we spray it on tea, we will have to label it as such. That will be a biggest drawback on the Ceylon tea industry, which is considered the best tea in the world.
Do you see that Sri Lanka has taken much, at least taken a step forward towards mitigating its impact?
I see efforts here and there to grow vegetables, rice and other food with either minimum usage, or I would say with completely without these agrochemicals. It can be done. And if we use it, please, we do have to monitor it.
Right.
Because these chemicals are toxic to the human body.
Right.
Or you can catch a repeat of that program at Hyde Park, hosted by our very own Indivri Amuatha, tomorrow at 7 p.m. right here on Sri Lanka's news channel, Derana 24/7. Let's move on with the other stories we have for you tonight. The grand finale of TV Derana's groundbreaking reality show, Fair and Lovely Derana Star City 2020, will see its grand finale taking place tomorrow at the Youth Centre in Maharagama. Preparations are currently being made to hold this event in a grand style at the Youth Centre. That will indeed be a star-studded event. Shanudri, Ramesh Tikshana, Ashanti and Randhir will vie for the coveted title, and you too can be a part of the selection by SMSing your vote during the live event. The grand finale will be live on our sister station TV Derana starting at exactly 7:30 p.m. soon after the primetime news. Let's take a short commercial break. Business news is on the other side. Stay with us.
Watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Business news now. The central bank said today that the Singapore-registered Blue Summit Capital Management Limited and Sri Lanka's Ben Holdings Limited have made a joint investment to purchase the crisis-hit finance company ETI Finance Limited. Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, CJP Sirivardhana, said that the total investment for ETI Finance was reached at $75 million.
During the monthly monetary review of the central bank, the information of the new investors were made public by the officials of the central bank.
The total investment for this $75 million. Investment coming in two tranches. The first tranche is $43 million and the second tranche is $32 million. Out of the first tranche, already they have transferred $32 million to the ETI, which has been used for this first 10% the deposit payment over the last few weeks, and another 11 million already came into the account. They maintain account at the Kyrgyz bank. That money already came into the Kyrgyz bank, and that will be released to the ETI very soon. With that money, So then they will complete the first tranche of this the investment. And as Governor explained, the second tranche initially agreed to transfer by end of June, but now they have requested some extension and now agreed to transfer by end of July. So with that, then ETI getting about 11.5 billion rupees, which will be used for the payment of the existing deposits.
Well, there's a follow-up to that story. Travel ban has been imposed on 4 directors of Edrisinghe Trust Investment or ETI Finances and ordered them to appear before Fort Magistrate on the 17th of July. Now, let's take you to the stock market. The all-share price index ended 0.15% weaker at 6,108.71. Foreign investors sold equities worth of 12 consecutive sessions, extending the foreign outflow to 1.43 billion rupees. The net sold equity worth 161 million rupees today, extending the year-to-date foreign outflows to 2.23 billion rupees, while the turnover was at 753.5 million rupees, less than this year's daily average of 921 million rupees. Now, let's give the overview of how the markets performed during the week. For that, let's cross over to Stefan Dialves from NDB Securities.
During the week, the ASPI lost 1.4%. Meanwhile, the S&P SL20 decreased by 1.9%. The average daily turnover for the week was down from last week to 570 million rupees. Furthermore, foreigners remained active for the week, closing as net sellers for the week, where foreign sales accounted for 61% of the total weekly turnover. A net foreign outflow of nearly 900 million rupees was recorded for the week. This resulted in the year-to-date net foreign outflow to increase to 2.4 billion rupees. Out of the weekly turnover, crossings accounted nearly 36%, which was a lower proportion than last week.
International news now. A giant blimp depicting Donald Trump as a baby will fly over London during the US President's visit next week after London's Mayor Sadiq Khan approved the request. First at 9's Indivri Amwata is in London and has the latest on this story.
Campaigners raised almost £18,000 for the helium-filled 6-meter-high figure, which they said reflects Trump's character as an angry baby with a fragile ego and tiny hands. London Mayor Sadiq Khan gave permission for the balloon to fly. The White House has not commented on the matter yet. On Twitter, former UKIP leader Nigel Farage said the plan was the biggest insult to a sitting US president ever. Under the plans, the inflatable will be allowed to fly for 2 hours on the morning of next Friday, the 13th of July. The inflated doll will be flown in the skies over Parliament Square during Trump's visit to the UK. A statement on behalf of the London mayor said he, quote, supports the right to peaceful protest and understands that this can take many different forms, unquote. Mayor Khan's city operations team met organisers and gave them permission to use Parliament Square Garden as a grounding point for the blimp. More than 10,000 people signed a petition calling for the inflatable to be given permission to fly. Mayor Khan and President Trump have repeatedly clashed on Twitter, including in the aftermath of the London Bridge attack. Before the figure can take off, campaigners will also need permission from the National Air Traffic Service, as the project constitutes a non-standard flight in controlled airspace because Parliament Square sits within restricted airspace. Additional approvals are also needed from the Metropolitan Police.
Well, several protests are organized by various groups ahead of the visit by US President Donald Trump here next week. And these protesters intend meeting him at every stage of the visit and show their opposition over his presence in the UK. Trump is also expected to have an audience with the Queen during his stay. He will fly into the UK following the NATO summit in Brussels and well before his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki, Finland on the 16th of July, a day after the World Cup finals in Moscow. Indi Briyamuatta for Other Derana First at 9 from London.
Well, a former Thai Navy diver has died while taking part in efforts to rescue the 12 boys and their football coach trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand. Petty Officer Saman Gunan lost consciousness on his way out of the Tham Lagoon cave complex where he had been delivering air tanks. He was brought out by his dive partner but could not be revived.
The 12 boys and their football coach have been trapped in the Tham Luang cave complex in Chiang Rai since the 23rd of last month. After 9 days of search operations, they were found on Monday, but their extraction from the flooded cave has so far proven impossible. The perils of the task at hand was made all too apparent when a former Thai Navy diver who volunteered for the operation died last night. With the oxygen level in the chamber where the boys have taken refuge falling, Saman Gunan's job was to deliver oxygen, but he did not have enough on his way back. Left unconscious, his dive partner brought him out but could not be revived. The oxygen level in the chamber where the boys are in has fallen to 15%, however the usual level is about 21%. Water continues to be pumped out of the cave in hope it would enable the extraction of the stranded group. Officials had initially considered leaving the boys in the chamber to wait out the rainy season, which could have seen them trapped there for up to 4 months. Thailand's Navy SEAL commander suggested yesterday that the divers may now have little choice but to attempt a daring emergency rescue fraught with danger for the boys, who are aged 11 to 16 and some of whom cannot swim.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, the first semi-finalist in this year's Football World Cup is already confirmed, with the quarterfinals getting underway at the Nizhny Novgorod Stadium in Russia. Uruguay took on France in the day's first match, which is the only match up to feature two former champions. France brushed their South American opponents aside with a 2-0 win. Rafael Varane latched on to Antoine Griezmann's free kick to glance home the opener in the first half. Griezmann then turned scorer in the second half, largely thanks to a helping hand from Uruguay's goalkeeper Fernando Muslera, who mishandled Griezmann's 20-yard strike. In the day's second match, favourites Brazil will take on underdogs Belgium in just about 2 hours' time.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening everyone and welcome to Forecast First. The prevailing high temperatures in the northern, eastern and southeastern parts of the country will see the temperatures go up to as high as 35 degrees Celsius tomorrow. Trincomalee, Mullaitivu, Batticaloa will have to brace for the full effect of the heat. In the meantime, rather lower temperatures will be felt in the central hills with the lowest temperature of 20 degrees Celsius expected in the Nuwara district. Moving on to your rain forecast now, there will be light showers in Trincomalee, Colombo, Kandy, Galle, Matara, Negombo and Hambantota districts. But overall, sunny weather conditions will prevail over most parts of the island tomorrow. That's it from your weather center tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
Well, Friday means that we want to end this working week on a high note, so time now for your good story of the week. This week's story is about a very special couple from the United States. For John and Marissa, living itself should have been difficult because both of them are born as patients of Down syndrome. But as they show us, life is difficult only if we think it is. And for them, love means simply love.
My girlfriend got me it as a gift. That's an award for best boyfriend. I know she's my dream girl.
First time I saw John, I thought a cat pounce. How's that thing? And you expect me to be your boyfriend.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's really elegant, really charming.
I think he's really cute, and I love his funny impressions.
They're the first ones out on the dance floor and getting the party started. They're present in the moment. They don't get bogged down by the traditional relationship issues.
The first day, we saw a movie with his two brothers.
Oh yeah, we watched Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yes.
They just know that it feels good, and love should feel good. It doesn't matter whether they truly get what it means, but the essence of it is that it feels good.
Love is love.
Love is love. I think we need more details than that.
Oh my God.
Well, that is First at 9 for this Friday night. Have a good night.